Chris, you're on mute, by the way.
I knew I was going to do that. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, I guess you could say.
I don't know if we're gonna have Johnny on this call today, but he said that we're able to just like go ahead and start without him, like we're already.
Okay, absolutely. At this point in time, I think it looks like the recreational group team is still trickling in, and just waiting for Walter to join us from our side. All right. I'm just going to ping Walter and make sure he's on his way, probably in a back-to-back call. Oh, there he is. Good morning, Walter.
Hello.
All right, so we have a number of new recreational group team members. I think Maggie and team, you guys forwarded to a couple additional people to get just a preview of the native Znode storefront and admin console. So welcome everybody, especially the ones that I've not met with and worked with before. Today we do want to give a demonstration of native Znode. We did do this during the discovery process, but obviously a number of you have not seen that. So this will kind of help you guys in your decisions and internal discussions as it relates to any short-term operational stores or what we might potentially need to support for year-end delivery if there are any store priorities designated for that time frame. So we do have roughly 30 minutes, but Walter, I'll turn it over to you, and you can jump in wherever.
Okay, great. Thank you, Chris. So I want to start with, you can see I am at support.znode.com. I wanted to bring this up first and point out to you, if you come to here and at the top click knowledge base, the things you see, the first thing is the Znode storefront and features, and then it's got the Znode starter theme commerce pages. So I wanted to point this out to you. It has, so we are going to start with what we call our starter theme. So this gives us, 85% of what we're going to need. All the things like my account, checkout, etc. And so think of this as the start line. This is where we start, and then from here we're gonna adjust this. But the reason I give this to you is I'm going to do a demo here, but this also shows you all of the pages and describes them. So you get a sense of it. So like, for example, I'm not going to go through every iteration of, but if you want to come look at it, they are all shown here in the knowledge base. Make sense? Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a sandbox store here that I have set up for Maxwell hardware. But I want to have two caveats to this first. So the first to start with is completely empty. And for every store, the homepage is configurable, and I'll spend a little bit of time a little later. I want to show you the storefront, but then I'm going to show you the page builder to understand that we can make the page builder do this, and we've got pre-built components to use from. The same thing is the feed, and we define the footer with the page builder. And again, like I said, I'll show you that. But so we've got, if we look at this to start with, we have, this is our generalized header. It's going to have a store logo, the search box, sign in, cart, and some of these things we may turn around on or off for you, but are all here part of this theme. Then we see a main navigation menu. There are two parts to this main navigation menu. The first one is department. The second one is a set of links. So the second set of links, store locator, shop, brand, blog, etc., etc. The admin console, you can put whatever you need to there, and you put a label and you put a URL that goes with it. Department ties to the catalog that is associated to the user. So some users could potentially have a different catalog, so they're, but when you hover on it, you'll see the secondary menus, and you can have all of that. Before I get here, let me come back to the home page. At the top here is a homepage ticker. This can be turned on or off, and this can be customized to show a different value for different groups of people. And then the other thing in the header is when you click into search, we call this hydrated search. So it's starting with a number of things, and there's more configuration of it. There are other things not even showing here. This is all configurable from the admin console. You're showing brands or categories or not. But this is using common data based on traffic that's been happening, what people are doing. So it starts with, what is popular out there. And then as you start to type, it's going to then become what we call the type that you typed. So I started with, surge. I might be looking for a surge protector. You can see now it's doing things like it's suggesting different searches for me. And the other thing is this is all even aware. As I go over plumbing at Weekend, do that, or General Electric, it's all very context aware with your mouse. So this is all, our searcher with we can go through with you. Questions there? Makes sense so far? All right. Let me go on. I am going to go into a category. I'm going to start with lawn care. So this is the starting product list page we have. So starting at the top, hems, we have, the name of the category. There isn't one entered here, but if you had a short description for the category, it would show. Then because this had subcategories, we're seeing the subcategories listed, and I could click through to one of those. As I come down, we've got the information that we're able to set up the facets for your data based on whatever you need, and then as you check it, it does filter things down. We can clear those filters. Number of native sorts, they're all turned on here, but we can decide which ones we turn on or off. And then there's just a couple of different views. The good place to mention, I am going to go, oops, didn't mean to do that, sorry. I want to go into, I'm going to switch to a mobile view here. I think I'm going to switch to a mobile view. Yeah, here we go. All of this, all of these pages are dynamic for, let's do 3 cards. As you get down to mobile size, it'll go down to 2 card, or even 1 card. So everything has fully mobile responsiveness for desktop, tablet, mobile. Then as we look at this, we have product cards here with the image, product name, SKU. We have a review system built in that can be turned on or off. Then with each item, we can do a quick view of it, just to the cart. We can add it to our wish list. I'm not logged in, so I don't have a wish list. And then we can pick multiple products that we want to compare, and then there's a comparison feature. Any questions there before I jump to PDP page? I'm going kind of quick through it. All right, let's look at a product detail page. So product detail page is, this changes, I don't know what to say. It changes based on the product data. So we can have one image wouldn't have the carousel showing for you. There are things showing here like this one has tier pricing. So I'm seeing tier pricing. This one has shipping instructions, so I see that tab. If I didn't have shipping instructions, that tab would be hidden. But we can have product details, specifications. These are called highlights. You might think of them as badges, made in the USA or new product or something. We could have multiple there. This is a bad image on the sandbox here. Doesn't make sense, but normally you use we can add it to the cart. I do want to just show you, go to t-shirts here. Go to, I think it's this one, yeah, this one. So this is what a product that, is configurable would look like. So if it has multiple sizes or colors, we can, switch it out and then add it to them. I'm going to go find something else. Just get a couple things in my cart. Now, then we have, starting cart functionality where we can see, so example, the color and size of the shoe. We can remove items. And at this point, I am going to sign in here because I want to show you there's some more capabilities once I'm signed in that I get in the cart. So now that I'm in the cart, I get this save for later. We've probably all seen it there, but then move it back to your carts, when you're ready. We do have the capabilities to go full checkout or request quotes. If it's request quote, it then goes through an approval process and estimate shipping costs. Then when we get to checkout, we can get to checkout. Now that I'm logged in, I have an address book, so I could choose from my multiple addresses or add a new one. And then, it's aware of your address as to what shipping methods you have, and then various payment methods that we set up. Okay. And then I'm not going to go through all of this, but all the usual stuff you would expect in my account. There's that wish list. If I had it, I could see order history. I have, we do have pay on invoice. I don't think we're using that with you, but that capability. A lot of other things that you might not be using, like we can have orders that have to go for, and Chris had to approve it. It would sit in pending order status until Chris approved it. right. The other side of this I want to show you, just a little bit in the admin console. And specifically, I want to show you under store experience when I look at a home, come here, I can go to Commerce Pages homepage. This is going to now take me to the page builder. Home page. So you can see each of these items, like this is a banner slider. We've got a lot of control over it. This was a heading, then we had a product carousel. And with all of these things like the product carousel, you can, search for the products you want to add there. And then, they can get loaded into that. Same thing with categories, brands. And if you look down the left-hand side, there's a lot of control, Znode data, but then there's other things like a rich text widget and a dynamic widget that lets you enter HTML, button groups, just what you expect, create buttons. But then you've got the ability also to come in here and say, I want to have 3 columns with a gap, and then you can start columns to format it. I know it's kind of a quick view, but then the same thing as I mentioned, our footer starts out empty, but likewise, this was a footer that was created. A lot of times you'll drag in, this one has it already, but a column widget, and then call a link panel. So if we come to one of them, I had mentioned you can do just a page title and a URL. Back up to show you one more of those. I want to go to the home page, the header. I want to go to the header. I had mentioned, the header has, the departments menu, but then this is just another case where this is a link panel, to control all those items that are there.
Is there flexibility to have any custom HTML for the styling of that stuff, or like fonts or things like that?
Yeah, so a couple things you might have, like on this one, you'll see how it's got a custom class here. You can do a class, but then one of the other things is if I come here, you've got the ability to have dynamic styles. And the first thing, if you go to the knowledge base, so you've got a big article here about this. So all of our colors are controlled by variables that you were seeing here. So this is one of the ways if you have multiple stores, you don't have to have a developer. You can just change the primary button color from black to red, or whatever it might be in this case. We'll have happen, change the colors. But additionally, what you could do here is come here and, if you look at the CSS and you want to override it, you can just like put an override for the CSS here. And then the other half of that, to answer what you said, those things I had mentioned, if you want to go full force, one of these things is a dynamic widget, and this basically HTML. So, if you want to go full CSS, HTML, JavaScript, and you're like, hey, we just got, or if somebody's not as, advanced, you've got a rich text editor where they can use just the styles we have predefined, for it.
Perfect, thanks.
Thanks, Walter. And Delaney, maybe this was a question you asked, but like for an example is we have a lot of customers that will buy because we have like male edges and we have female edges. And so we have a lot of customers that will buy the Swiss track side on Shopify. The team's working on putting a pop-up when an edge is selected. just confirming that it is the proper edge that they need to install. Is that something we can do here as well? Is create a pop-up?
Probably with that H. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, we'd probably be able to figure it out. What I'm just thinking about, we can do a link. I think we'd have to look into that. I know we can link off to another page, but I don't know about a pop-up. But we can.
Or
write
even
that
if
down
it,
and
that
do a
item is
research.
added to cart, then once it's in the cart, there's some kind of just a notation or, hey, you added this item to your cart. You sure this is the right one? Like kind of along like something.
Okay.
Just so to limit returns and keep the question for you. I don't want to like derail anywhere that you're going with it, but I think it's kind of.
No, I was mostly done. But to your first point, before you jump onto that, if we want to add a message in the cart, that's something we do as customization. But if you remember, I said this is our starter theme. We're 85 of these unique features, for you. So that's something we'll do. So we start with the starter theme, and then we add that extra 15%. Yeah.
Just in comparing to like a Shopify platform or something like that, what can you walk me through like the abandoned cart situation or the marketing opportunities that exist, via text message or email,
So we
and
don't
how that kind of gets triggered?
we don't do the marketing type of emails. We have the data all available, so we do have, we track abandoned carts and things, but generally someone is using a marketing tool that's better at that. And most of the time what happens is abandoned cart here? Yeah, I'm not sure where abandoned cart is. But a lot of the times we're just JavaScripting in a marketing tool that's able to follow along.
Gotcha. And then John, I don't know if John's on here. Would that, I guess I can ask later, or Maggie, you're on here. Do you feel like that would be HubSpot still, that we would, I guess, how's it going to communicate with HubSpot to send those out? Just the code that you were just talking about, or is it going to go through Dynamics?
I think we'll probably have to do a little research on that yet. So we can jot that down on our action item list too. I know we've talked a little bit about HubSpot, but we haven't got into the particulars yet. What other questions do you guys have? And again, this was just to, some of you are new, just to refresh you on what we have and what we're starting from. But then, also to, I think hopefully you've all seen the SRS. This is where we've now come and done things like, on the product detail page, for example, it's showing the names. Here, one of that things with that female male edge. It still didn't address the specific question you asked about, did they pick the wrong one? But so to that extent, you can see these pages look familiar, but hang on, let me zoom in so I don't make you blind. But you can see we're customizing this area, to show that. And then the same thing with the Swiss Tracks one to show those product add-ons. So these, uncovered during discovery.
Okay. And then Walter, just so I don't know, I'm sure Johnny and the team's probably updated you, like on the tile side, we have dealer sales and then we have our direct sales, which I think the dealer sales it's great for this as we're using Sona now. We could bring to our B2C, being customer facing. That's just, you know, Joe Schmo buying a garage floor or a pickleball kit. And that's where I know it's probably capable because it sounds like there's a lot of things that we can integrate and customize. I just don't feel like when we've done that in the past, it just doesn't really work out for us in the long run. And like what we want to end up doing is having an e-commerce platform where someone can go in, whether it's Swiss Tracks or Verse Court, they can design their custom court or design their custom garage floor, and by the couple clicks of a button, be able to purchase it through this platform.
Right. So I know
So I don't know if that's
we've
possible.
spoken briefly. So for, you know, the initial launch, the idea was you've still got your existing design, your floor tool. So we jump off to that. So in this initial release, we are planning to then have that data come back here, but it has been a discussion for a future. You can jump to the design your floor, but they're both still independent. But you know, definitely in the future, you know, when you're in the designer, you can go, you know, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. I don't know where it'll be. You know, hey, order this. Now it would jump back and put it all into the cart.
In that example you were showing us earlier, and apologies, I came a little late, so you might have said it, but was that more of a B2C type of experience?
This is it's sort of a genericized site. Our Maxwell Hardware is our sandbox store. So it's got both B2C and B2B features, you know, so like it's got, so this site is everything is, you know, it's the soup, right? You know, it's the vegetable soup. It's got both B2B and B2C.
Yeah, I think Josh, the key thing to frame out here is that we really haven't gone into any extensive discovery in terms of B2C delivery model. We've been focusing on kind of the main turf brands.
For sure.
And we would need to do some additional discovery to kind of frame out how the application would best support the workflows and the customer groups to the
Nope, I appreciate that. Thanks, Chris.
So this today was intended to just be, you know, show some of you this, remind you know, those that had seen it before, and then we can have a number of follow-on meetings and get into more particulars.
Yeah, we'll continue to coordinate with Johnny. We'll make this recording available to him as well. You guys can circulate and review internally and kind of talk about next steps with this, and we can determine how to incorporate that into the e-commerce roadmap. But any other final thoughts, questions, concerns before we adjourn? All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate your time and attendance today. And I'll be sending out a meeting recap with a link to the meeting video. So thank you so much. Have a good afternoon.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys. Bye.
Thanks, guys.